Hey class, welcome to chapter 3. This is actually one of my favorite chapters to discuss or talk about, just because it affects us. It might actually affect us more than you know. So confirming core values. So typically when this is online class, which is what I typically teach, you talk with a partner, what you think values are. Um, the thing I love about values is most of the time they're so personal. So values define values are the self-motivators and indicators that you're considered the most important in your life. What are your priorities? What do you value? Life values are reflected in how you actually do, what you actually do with your time and your life. So why is it important to have values in your work and career? You might understand, okay, it's important to have in my personal life because that kind of what dictates or decides how I act with myself, with my friends, with my family and society. How do I portray myself? How do I look to others? All those important things, right? The things that really make you who you are. Someone might go out and steal and other people might not because in their core values, they feel that is wrong. Again, these are only things that you can answer, but kind of goes back to the question, why is it important to have values in your work or career? Let's find out. Clarifying your values. When you're young, you generally take your parents or caretakers' values. You're a sponge, you absorb everything, right? So you are listening to what people say, you're taking it in, and then depending on how they act is how you're going to act. So when I was much younger, I was taking a sociology class and I learned a lot about society as a whole. And it came to something that we discuss in class, and it was only for a brief moment, but it really got me thinking to a lot of things in my life. And it's oftentimes not the act, but the reaction to the act that makes something bad or something good. So if I'm going around and stealing things and our society or my parents or loved ones never tell me that that's bad or I shouldn't do that, I'm going to think that stealing is a good thing, right? Or it's at least not a bad thing. Maybe it's a neutral thing. But when somebody that I care about or my parents or society says, hey, that's a bad thing, you're not supposed to do that, then I'm going to understand that it's bad. So again, it's not the actual act of you doing something or someone doing something to you or society. It's a reaction that people may or may not have to enforces that behavior. So why is that stuff important? And especially when it comes to your own values, are values taught? And if so, where are you getting these values from? So when you hit young adulthood, you start to question a little bit. When you're younger, 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever age it might be, what your parents or caretakers say or do, it's concrete. That's what it is. You don't know any better. Ignorance is bliss, right? But as you get a little older and you start to see things on TV, you start to see things on social media, you start to talk to your friends, you get to experience different cultures, you soon realize that maybe your caretaker, maybe you're different than them, and that's okay in most ways, right? But maybe you start to develop your own values or what you might think is okay and not okay. But what happens a lot of times is when you start asking the question why, whether that is at home, whether that is at school, whether that is in society, you are labeled as like maybe teenage rebellion at that point. Even though maybe you're doing it respectfully, they're taking it as, why are you asking these questions? You're supposed to do what you say. So I'm not trying to get too offside track, but I'm hoping you kind of get a better idea of where your values or what you do growing up really defines who you are or could define who you are. So I'll bring up one other thing before we move to the next slide. So if you're a religious person, cool, be religious. But I'm always curious to, did you start going to church because that's something you valued? or because you were told to do so at a young age, and maybe your caretaker or parent was told to do something at a young age, and it's something that was reinforced at a very young age, and it's a generational thing. And if so, are you valuing those things? And it doesn't have to be religion. It could be in numerous things in society. In the counseling world, in the mental health world, we call those discourses, something that's a generational thing. But it kind of sometimes, at least it makes me wonder about, different values. And when I think something so concrete in my head and I value something so much, where did that original idea come from? So do your values change over time? We kind of talked about that. Some absolutely will. Does everything I value or valued when I was younger, do I still value? Yes and no. There's definitely some things. So adults can do some dramatic changes in their life, or can make some dramatic changes in their life based on the circumstances that they're in. So you might say, hey, I do not steal. I will never, ever, ever steal from anybody. That is so wrong. But what if you become homeless, or something happens dramatically in your life and you need groceries, or you need something? Are you willing to let yourself or others starve or be harmed? Or are you willing to steal something so you could eat? Obviously, circumstances change everything. And it can be traumatic for everyone involved, because they might have a concrete idea of who you are, or you might have a concrete idea of who you are, and that might have to change. And that also comes down to companies. Hopefully you watch the documentary, The Corporations, right before, and it really, really talks about companies' values. And that's kind of why we're having this chapter. And that's why you have 2 weeks to go over it, because it's a lot of information. Your family, maybe you idolize your family members, and then you really idolize their values, and you think that's perfect. Great, keep doing those things. Maybe there's certain things that you value, maybe there's certain things you don't. And of course, finances. Sorry, I try not to drink too much during lectures. It's probably annoying. But finances, maybe you value saving money. Maybe you value traveling with your money. Maybe you value investing. Maybe you value doing some shop therapy and spending all your money. So prize and cherish. So prize and cherish. When you cherish something, you exclude enthusiasm, enjoyment about it. You're proud to display what it is. Maybe that's a prize that you won. Maybe that is something that you did and you want to post it online, or something that you made. For Elon Musk, maybe it's his billions and billions of dollars, or Tesla, or going to space, or anything else. Really, he does a lot. So there's different kinds, right? There's public kind. You're willing and perhaps even eager to state your values to the public. So if you know who Mother Teresa is, she took every opportunity that she could when she was in the public to kind of bring it back to her faith and her values, and where her values came in her faith. And you might know someone like that. Within 5 minutes of talking to them, they say, oh, it's because of this, and they really share or express their values in the public eye. Maybe it's an influencer, and I talk about those a lot. I'm so sorry, but it kind of seems like that's what it is. Chosen freely. No one else is pressuring you to act a certain way. Your own values are a part of you. It's something that is inside of you. Some examples might be when people maybe go vegetarian. Maybe they saw a documentary or something and said, I don't want to eat animals. Maybe it's religious, maybe it's spiritual, maybe it's something about the planet. Maybe on the weekends you go out and you collect trash on the beach because you value a clean earth and all that stuff. But again, you're not feeling pressured by anyone to do so. You just kind of want to do it for yourself, even if the idea originally came from somewhere else, like a documentary. Chosen after consideration. So you're offered a job across the country, be where you live. So maybe you live in California, and and you value our atmosphere and our culture here and the acceptance here. And maybe that job is going to be in a different state where maybe they vote a little differently or act a little differently. Are you willing to relocate? Maybe the money's good and maybe you are, or maybe you're not. Again, that's a personal choice for you to make. So you're offered a well-paying job, but the business ethics go against your personal ethics. So again, that brings it back to that documentary, The Corporations. Maybe it's a Coca-Cola or Pepsi or IBM, or maybe you find out that they were illegally dumping things into the ocean. Yes, it's a high-paying job, but are you going to sell your soul to the company just for money? Again, no judgment here. I'm not in your situation, but that's a question you might want to ask yourself. Or is there another job maybe that's lower paying, but that's goes with and intertwines with your own personal values? You're presented with a dinner check, but they forgot to charge you for all your food that you ordered. Do you go to the waiter and tell them, or do you not? And if there's a chance that the waiter might get in trouble, what do you do? Again, these are things we talked about in class. Our lectures are pretty short in this class, probably because I have so many other videos and things for you guys to do. But again, these are things that you have to ask yourself, and maybe after watching the couple videos before this, you get a better understanding. So needs and motivators. So these two go hand in hand. So Maslow hierarchy of needs. So this is just talking about human beings as a whole. So the bottom, the foundation is food, water, warmth, rest. If we don't have food, if we don't have water, if we don't have warmth, meaning we could freeze to death, and if we can't sleep, at least sleep safe, nothing else could move forward. That's kind of it. You're going to die. So next, safety needs. You need security and safety. So maybe you have a fort or somewhere you could hide out so you're not getting eaten or killed. So now you have food, water, warmth, rest, so security and safety. Okay, now that I have those important things, I can move to the next step. So belongingness and love needs, so intimate relationships and friends. These, as we know, are super important for human beings right now in this generation. And then esteem needs, prestige and feeling accomplished. So now I have my food, my water, my warmth, my rest, my security, my safety. I have a family. And now I'm starting to do other things and I want to be recognized for these things. And then self-actualization. Man, I cannot talk. Holy crap. Okay, achieving one's full potential, including creative activities. So maybe you had a dream or ambition that you wanted to do. And now that you can actually go and do those things because you have all these things. Super important. Sometimes we overlook these things. And can we get away with some of these for a short period of time? Absolutely. It just really depends what it is. The bottom one, of course, can't wait that long without having those. So the next one, we're going to find this in our book, and it actually compares the two. So the first one, remember, is the food, rest, shelter, and all those good things. But when it comes to employment, we need wages high enough to meet our weekly bills. Or, you know, if we're spending more than we make, then the pyramids, it can't grow from there, right? If I have $100 in expenses a week, and I'm getting paid $50 a week, guess what? It's going to be bad. I can't do it. So once, you know, you make more than you need, then the next one. So if we're talking about human beings, again, it's protection against danger, poverty. But the next step when it comes to careers and jobs would be job security. Cool, I make a bunch of money, more than I need in a week. However, next week I could be unemployed. I could lose my job. Without that stability, you can't move forward. Social needs, again, as a society, friendship, a sense of belongingness, a team, family, loved ones, etc. Social needs at work, work colleagues that support you. If you go to work and you hate your colleagues, or they hate you, or your boss hates you, or etc., it's gonna be extremely stressful, and it's just the longevity probably will not be there. And if you're like, nope, I'm going to follow through, then you need to start thinking about your own happiness. But again, that's on you. Esteem needs, having status, being recognized in the job. Maybe it's being given recognition for your job well done, employee of the week. Maybe you get a cool parking spot, award, a gift card, something. And then self-actualization, still can't say it. So succeeding your true potential. And then maybe when your job or career that's being promoted or assigned more responsibilities, hopefully those responsibilities come with more money. So again, in a typical class, you would make your own pyramid and what's important to you for your career. But because we are on the interweb, we will not be doing that. Again, guys, please remember you have 2 weeks to complete this one. I do know that the documentary is quite long. And of course, take your quiz and do your discussion. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. All right, guys, stay safe. Bye.